Look at those huge eyes and the keeled, glossy, beautiful dragon-like scales. He's related to the boomslang. I'm not going to get into the venom, but I do want to talk about some other aspects of working with and keeping this snake. I'm Carrie with Girly Girl Snakes, and I'm here to talk to you about my experience with keeping Thrasops Occidentalis. This guy, his name is Nix. I have had him since February of 2023. It is now November of 2024. I'm here to kind of tell you about some of the challenges that I have faced with him and some of the things that I think have led to my success with keeping him, because unfortunately, since I've been posting him so much on my social media, I've actually had a lot of people reach out to me and say that they had one and it passed away shortly after getting it. And I've heard it too many times now to not feel obligated to share my story and some of the tips and tricks that I have that I think could potentially help other keepers who do get a Western black tree snake. And a lot of these probably apply to other wild caught snakes, such as the Thrasops jacksoni, which is pretty similar. And then even Goniosoma or Boiga, if there's a wild caught specimen that you're getting, some of these tips and tricks may help you as well. It's okay, bud. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. I got my Thrasops out. I'm gonna kind of let him calm down for a minute. You're okay, buddy. I want you guys to be able to kind of see how he is when you do first get him out. He's very hissy and just kind of spreads his neck a lot. He does a lot of jerky motions too, which I'm hoping he won't do too much of, but they're really not prone to bite. He mainly gapes his mouth a lot. He does some really jerky motions, like he could potentially even jerk towards my face right about now. It's okay, buddy. One thing I stress the most with this species is that because they are wild caught and very sensitive to stress, when you get it, set it up and leave it alone. Don't handle it, don't mess with it. I would have the setup ready ahead of time. I would not do a sterile setup for the snake. I think they need to have a little bit more naturalistic enclosure to minimize the stress of being from the wild. So I think it's important to have some substrate, some hides, water dish obviously, clutter, and I would put it in there and completely leave it alone. No foot traffic, no looking at it for at least a week. Then I would probably offer it something to eat. You can try a frozen thawed mouse. Mine did not take that initially. I ended up getting a knoll juice scent and soaking a frozen thawed mouse in that, and he took that. And you do not need to be putting the mouse in front of its face and waving it around and stressing it out. Just put the mouse in a spot that you know that the snake will see it, and leave it overnight and then check it the next morning. It will most likely be gone. They like to hunt at night. They're diurnal species, meaning they're very active during the day. But whenever I've offered him food during the day, he usually doesn't eat it. He's more of a shy eater, honestly. So I put it where I know he's gonna find it at night. and then the lights go out and he almost immediately takes it and eats it at that point. So please don't overstress your animal. Let them settle a week, then just be feeding them, see if they're eating. The knoll juice did the trick for me. Some of them like quail. Mine did not eat quail in the beginning. It was just the mice scented in the knoll juice. Also know that they probably have parasites, so if you are not equipped to treat a snake for parasites, that could be a challenge. I also know that since they are so prone to stress, some snakes have not done well with being taken into a vet. So I particularly found an online exotic vet that I could talk to that gave me proper dosing suggestions based on his weight, and I was able to inject a frozen thawed mouse with the proper dose of Panicure. It was a dewormer made for goats, and I was able to inject it into the frozen thawed mouse and feed it to him. I think I did 3 times, like 2 weeks apart, something like that, but I followed my exotic vet's instructions and was able to treat him for parasites without taking him in, because I know that can really stress them out. So if you are going to treat for parasites, first of all, let them get established, hydrated, eating, get their strength before you try to do any kind of treatment. And then the most invasive way that you can treat and do right by your animal, the better. I think it worked really nicely for him. He seems very healthy, and have now had him over 1.5 years since those treatments. Their defense mechanisms are to gape their mouth, and they spread their neck out and elongate it to make them look larger than they are. The hissing, and then the musk is also another deterrent. After I fed him and treated him, I still did not handle him for 90 days. I really wanted to give him adequate time to settle in and really get his strength up, and I think that was huge for his success. I think it's very important to not give them a sterile quarantine. I think they need some naturalistic in there to not be as shocked from being pulled out of the wild. I think they need to be left alone as much as possible. Still to this day, I only handle him on average every 3 months, maybe even 4, but no more than 8 weeks apart, because I really want to minimize the stress that he has on him. And I think that's very much contributed to his success of still being alive today. So minimize stress, be aware that you're probably going to have to treat for parasites, be aware that you're probably not going to be able to handle the snake much, but they are a really beautiful display animal, super active during the day, gorgeous, highly rewarding, but definitely going to put in a lot of work and a lot of dedication to be able to have them successfully. Okay, some basics on this particular species. They are found in Central Africa in tropical forest climates, so they do need quite a bit of humidity. They don't like stagnant air, so if you can provide them with humidity with either misting them once to twice a day or having an automatic mister on a timer, but quite a few air vents for circulation or a computer fan on a vent to provide extra circulation. They don't like the stagnant air, but they do need it pretty humid, and they will often drink off of misting versus a water bowl. I still would provide a water bowl, but I would make sure that you're direct spraying or misting so that they can drink that way as well. Hydration is super important for the species. Also, they are diurnal. They're super active during the day. I do find that he likes to eat or hunt at night. It's pretty interesting. I will actually put a mouse in when the lights are going to go out at night, and he will eat it as soon as the lights go out. He's kind of a shy eater. You do not need to be waving the mouse, like I've said. Just put the mouse in, let them go about their hunting behavior at night, and in morning it will be gone. In regards to setup, Nick's is in a custom PVC enclosure made by Toad Ranch. I highly recommend them. You can customize if you want windows on the side, how many vents you want. I love the wood grain front of these enclosures. Makes it look very high quality, almost like furniture. And this enclosure is 4 feet long by 2 feet deep and 3 feet tall, which I feel like is perfect for an adult Thrasops Occidentalis. He makes use of every single inch of this enclosure. He has a radiant heat panel on the right side of his enclosure, providing a temperature gradient of around 75 on the cool end to 85 on the hot end, with a basking spot of around 88 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. I also provide him with UVB. I have everything set to turn off at night, providing a night temp drop to the low 70s. For substrate, I use ReptiChip, which is high quality coconut fiber and chips, and I add sphagnum moss to create humid hides, both up in the branches along with on the ground. To see a huge naturalistic setup featuring a pair, please plan your visit to Reptilandia in Johnson City, Texas. Not only is their facility incredible, but I am super honored to have the Thrasops Occidentalis exhibit dedicated to me with a plaque. My hopes for most of you that are interested in the species and are attracted to its looks and intrigued by it, my hopes is that you enjoy it through my page and seeing the reels and videos, just because I know the success rate on making one captive is probably fairly low, and it is a lot of work and effort. So if you are set on having a Thrasops occidentalis or Thrasops jacksoni or any wild-caught sensitive snake, my hopes is that you really do your due diligence, make sure that your setup is completely appropriate in advance, and that you give it the best possible chance to have it live and thrive. And I hope some of these tips will help. I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert on this species, but since there is such little information, I really hope that some of this you find helpful, or that you just, learn that maybe the snake is not right for you, because it would be considered an advanced species to own.